It was a long, hard winter. Lots of ice storms and big snowstorms here in Skamania. I spent a lot of time inside, had a heavy workload for my job, and that was good. But I also gained a lot of weight. So I'm working on burning that off. In the last chapter of Searching for Austin Oldfield, I said that I thought he was still alive. I'm going to give you the reasons why I think he might be alive, and then some of the reasons why he might not be. First of all, several people have said that they've seen him. Second of all, there was a viewer who's kind of an online sleuth and was talking with some people from the Rainbow family. And he had this conversation with them. He said, hopefully he's among the family. And the person responding said, he is, no worries. And this man responded, he is with your group of people? And about 30 minutes later, she said, oh, I misunderstood. Sorry, no word of him. This sleuth that was looking into this said that he felt like she was trying to cover up, like she realized she'd made a mistake and then went back on her word. And then the most compelling reason that I think Austin is alive and is because his ex-wife and mother of two of his children said that on July 29, she got a notice from Google+, and she shared an account with Austin and her daughter, and they were the only ones on the account. And she got a notification saying that there was a video posted by Austin. The first one was July 29 of 2016, and then the second one was September 14 of 2016. She commented on both of those posts and said, where are you? Please respond. We want to know you're okay and you're safe. And there was no response. Then in December, those links were deleted. Sometimes online posts or different companies will put promotionals for movies and stuff on your account. I haven't known Google Plus to do that, and that's what makes me suspicious, and also that they were deleted. And that is the number one reason why I think Austin Oldfield is alive. The cons to that are what this online investigator said when he talked with one of the Rainbow family members. It's very likely that that could have just been an accidental slip of the tongue, that she did just honestly misunderstood. So none of this is conclusive proof that Austin Oldfield is alive. The biggest thing that doesn't fit with Austin still being alive is that his disappearance doesn't fit the MO of most people that disappear. Usually you'll just find their car and their stuff at the end of some trail when they're trying to disappear. That's the last of you hear of them. But with Austin, we found a few days later, after he was into his trip, some people pick him up. He's looking for water. That's really unusual. And that part is the biggest evidence I see for Austin still being out there in the woods somewhere. To be honest with you, the thought of him being alive discourages me from looking for him anymore. For some reason, thinking that he posted on his Google account and then took it down and that he's just one of those people that disappeared. I don't want to be looking for somebody like that. And I don't have time to go out and investigate across the country. There's somebody who says they saw him in Tennessee. His sister, Austin's sister Pamela, has said that she's gotten a lot of false alarms of people that claim they've seen Austin. It's all speculation. A lot of people say when they read or watch my videos that you're projecting a lot on Austin. And that's really true. And that's not what I enjoy, actually. I want to try to just know enough to know where to look for him, or where to look for the missing person. And to be honest, that's getting kind of tedious for me, going off in that direction and even trying to investigate in the Tri-Cities where people have claimed. So it's a long ways away, and I just don't have the time to go out to those places. and invest in that kind of a search. Okay, let me just say, a few months ago, I got news that Austin had posted on his Google Plus account, and at first that made me about 80% sure that he was alive. Then when I recorded the video that you were just watching, I was about 50-50 in my decision about whether Austin was alive or not, because I thought maybe these ads were just, or these posts were just automatic ads placed. And so I emailed Austin's ex and asked her what the content was. And she responded by saying the first one was called Lemon Tree Passage. It was a link to a B movie about some kids whose car broke down in the woods and an evil spirit is getting them. Yeah, it creeped me out too. But it was a B movie. He loved those. I think it was Australian. The second was a kids movie, Ice Age, I think, when I think about it. It was in French. Don't have a clue. I was totally thrown for a loop. This was on the Google Plus that he had set up with me and my daughter on her tablet. He would send her messages or message stickers. He would send her messages. I don't know, at first I thought it was just that it had just been hacked, or that maybe someone was messing with his iPad, but that's in police evidence, right? We were only there, we were the only three connected. We have no other people on this account. I will send you a screenshot, but not home right now. And so far she hasn't sent me a screenshot. When I got that response, it really changed my mind about whether or not Austin was alive, or whether I believe he is, and I do believe he is. I'm about 98% sure, because those video links were so specific. I believe that Austin is suffering from some sort of psychotic break, possibly brought on by drug abuse. There's different things in life: stress, genetics, drug abuse, or drug use can lead to altered states of mind that are permanent. And I believe that something like that happened to Austin that is making him experience delusions, hallucinations, and paranoia, and that he's most likely still alive. And here's why I think that that is the case for him. First of all, one of his friends posted on his sister's Facebook page that they were sad to hear about Austin, and that I thought it was odd when he was visiting that he would often take drugs, and I think possibly had taken drugs. He or she, I don't remember if it was a male or female, couldn't get him to come into the house because he was chasing these mystical creatures. Also, the people who dropped him off at the lake said he was chasing a red balloon with a magical ship under it. He also left his iPod wrapped in tinfoil in his car, and that's how the police found it, which doesn't make sense because he was smart. He was tech savvy. If he was really trying not to let people track him, he could have, it's harder on an iPad, but you could remove the battery or completely leave it behind or somewhere else. Wrapping it in tinfoil isn't really a logical solution. So there's that. I think that's the paranoia I see in it. And then the video he sent, I believe, like I said before, of these kids whose car broke down out in the wild, and then he was haunted, or they were haunted, is so parallel to his. And I mean, his battery was dead, and so he was kind of trapped out there. And I believe he was kind of on a vision quest, like I thought in the first place. But I think he was so far past being able to save himself and pull himself back in from these delusions that it also explains to me why he didn't just leave. He wasn't necessarily trying to disappear at first, or even at all, because people like that will kind of stay connected here and there. You hear from them every once in a while. It's not just a straightforward, I'm trying to disappear. They're just trying to disappear from their fears and their hallucinations. This is very similar, like I've said before, to one of the viewers that sent in and said that their brother had disappeared in the same way, abandoned their car at a Forest Service trail, and then he turned up about 3 months later when he was arrested for arson, and but he disconnected the family because he thought that they were after him too. Also, in my personal experience, I've had a woman contact me in my business wanting me to create a documentary for her about downloading it was basically about this evil organization that was worldwide, and they were downloading documents to her brain, and she wanted to expose them for who they were, but she wouldn't give me her full contact. She would only call me, and she wouldn't give me an email address or a phone number or a mailing address, because the police could track her down, or not the police, this authority. However, she did have a website and a phone number, and she sent me some of the documents that had been downloaded to her brain, and they were kind of just gibberish and tons like directions and receipts. But in somebody's mind that is going through this, those things all make sense, perfect sense. And although they're just jumbled facts to the rest of us. And this woman called me several times. I talked with her at length, and to me, their experiences are so similar, and the things that she was talking about and the fear is so similar to what I see, these little fragments from Austin. Now, I could be wrong. I'm not a professional. He hasn't been evaluated. But from my life experience, I'm saying that's what I feel happened, and I'm about 98% sure, or thereabouts. Because of that, I am going to switch gears a bit and start searching for somebody else. And that doesn't mean I'm not going to keep looking for Austin, and there will be future chapters on searching for Austin Oldfield as well. But for me, I want to expand a little bit more about who I'm looking for. And I've thought about several of the different options of people who've gone missing here in the county, and there are a number of high-profile cases, but the ones that are a little bit more quiet are more interesting to me. And that's why what I am going to focus on next is the story of a winter storm that came up here in Skamania County in 2013, I believe, at the end of September. And it was a bad storm, unexpected, heavy rain. 4 people went missing. Heavy rain in the valleys and snow in the mountains. And when the search and rescue team was out, it was raining so hard that they had a trash can out, and it filled up, I believe, within 24 hours with water. All of those people were found, except for one man who'd been out with a friend, and they were going to meet back in just a few minutes, and nobody has heard anything from him since. And it takes place out in the Big Lava Bed, which is also a fascinating area to me. It's unexpected. You don't even notice it until you get into it, and then it's almost like being in a cross between a desert and a maze. I hope you'll join me as I begin a new story, the story of the search for Christopher Zitzwitz.